Alrighty, welcome back. We are live on Wednesday again. If you are a Packers fan, you saw us last night when we did our Green Bay Packers show, so thanks for tuning into that. That was a fun show. We are back today to discuss the ending of the Badgers football season, the split week for Badgers basketball, and the Milwaukee Bucks winning streak continuing. So we're going to start Badger football right after the intro.
Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so like I said, we're going to start with Badger football. Now, we're kind of talking about this as the show was starting. Not going to be a ton to take away from this. So, Mike, what did you take away from the defensive side of the ball in the secondary?
I mean, just across the board, we were sleepwalking all day, man. This applies to, I think, everybody. I was really disappointed. It just seemed like nobody was really fully engaged in this game overall. I get it. It was an 11 a.m. kick on Black Friday. You know, the stadium wasn't full. Not all the students were in town. But, I mean, this is a rival game at the end of the day. You got to come and be ready to play ball. I mean, I think Fickle has said it that this is like the Super Bowl like of the year, right? A one-game season, like this is it. And the team just came out and played flat overall. I don't have too many takeaways from this overall. I mean, it goes more so as a program in general. I think we've hit a point where we haven't been in a long time. And when I say that, it's we get outscored 110-42 in the trophy games, right? That's Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. 110-42. That is completely unacceptable. Defensively, since we're on that side of the ball, 110 points, especially when you're talking Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, teams that we should have more talent than. I would say arguably we do in some retrospect. Maybe it's just some execution things, and again, going back to being fully engaged. But your three rivals, it's just completely unacceptable. But I'll give a quick shout out. I know just because his career's over with Wisconsin, unfortunately, but Hunter Wohler, he did have 8 total tackles. Good news is he did get his invite to the Senior Bowl at least, where you guys will be headed to in a couple months. So I'll have 20 questions for you to ask him when the time comes. But no, shout out to Hunter Wohler, great career at Wisconsin. Preston Zachman as well was his last game. He had 5 tackles. Nizer Forkreen, 3 tackles. Rico, hopefully he's coming back next year. 2 tackles, and Austin Brown 2 tackles. But I'm not going to get much into the game. It's very disappointing overall. But yeah, we'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I did my Senior Bowl application today. The applications opened up today, so hopefully I'm getting an acceptance email in the next couple days. Looking at the linebackers, Tackett Curtis and Christian Allegro, they made a couple key plays in the first couple of possessions, forced 2 punts on the first 2 drives. Looking at Christian Allegro, he was consistently finishing games, basically every game, as one of the Badgers' highest graded defenders. Now, we take PFF grades with a grain of salt, but that much frequency over the course of the season, even before he started getting the starting snaps from Jaheim Thomas, makes me feel really good about Christian Allegro being my dark horse pick. So if there's, even just one positive thing I can hang on the Badgers defense or the team as a whole, Christian Allegro was a really good part of this team. And one piece that I'm really hoping is back on the defense next season. Other than that, Daryl Peterson got a few pressures. He had 3 pressures, also had 2 run stops. He kind of progressed a little bit as the season went on. Other than that, the Badgers had 6 missed tackles. 2 of them came from the linebackers. 6 total pressures on 27 dropbacks is obviously not going to cut it no matter what level you're playing at. So looking at it, Fickle kind of talked about it today. We'll be talking about what we're going to do with offseason stuff, so I'm not going to jump into that right now. But Jake, what did you have from the D-line?
Yeah, not the finest hour for this Badger football team or this front defensive line front. In terms of sacks, they had one. Eli Hills, he was really the one bright spot on this D line this entire year. A guy who consistently came to play. He made plays in the backfield. He was constantly getting pressure, shedding blocks. Uh, I think Cade McDonald and Brandon Lane, maybe they have a future. Cade made some plays every once in a while, but this is obviously an area. We talked about it all season long. This is an area where the Badgers are weak in this area on defense. We talked about it in the offseason, during the season. I thought they were improving, and then kind of as they got smacked in the mouth a little bit in some of these rival games, as Mike was talking about before, kind of seems like they just like a turtle just kind of went back into their shell and didn't ever be aggressive again. We did lose one person from the front to the transfer portal. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Oh, Kurt Neal. Yep.
Yeah, Kurt Neal.
Yep.
Thank you for the assist there, Mike. But yeah, so this is going to be an area where they're going to have to attack. I believe the portal opens up on Monday, right?
Yeah, the 9th, I believe.
Monday the portal opens up. So I just wanted to put this message out there for everybody who's freaking out. All the Badgers Nation that's freaking out. I have to put this message out there. You are only allowed to announce you're going to the portal. You cannot bring anybody in at this time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be freaking out, seeing all these people going to the portal, every college is going through it. And it's going to be a lot of underclassmen who are stuck down on the depth chart. They don't think they have a future at this college, whatever that case may be. This is like NFL free agency, except there's 130 teams, not 32 teams.
And every active roster has 90, 93 players, not 53.
So it's like NFL free agency on crack, basically, because there's just so many names out there.
It's like an NFL free agency, but double it and give it to the next person like 4 times.
Yeah. So it's going to be a crazy time. It's going to be a lot of adjusting. And I think people that, are getting, giving the Badgers a hard time. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. You have to understand we went through a major coaching change and college football is going through a major facelift. So
let's do the offense and let's come back to this because when I Googled the date, I came up with a bunch of statistics that I want to share.
Okay.
Let's finish going through this game and then let's talk about the landscape. So, Jake, special teams, anything?
Dude, I've at this game I felt nothing. When I was taking my notes on this game. I felt like one of the players. I felt nothing when I was taking my notes, thinking about this game. I mean, Vakos obviously has not been very sharp the last couple of weeks. I don't want to kick a guy when he's down. Bertram's shout out to him. He got honorable mention All Big Ten on by the coaches, I believe it was third All Big Ten third team. So shout out to him for that. Other than that, special teams was not special this year.
So I'm gonna start with the passing game on the offensive side of the ball. The first drive, multiple deflections on 3rd and 8, a ball that bounced off the defensive lineman's helmet. Braden Locke was just kind of throwing everything as lasers. And I said it to you guys multiple times during the game. I'm like, just get a little bit of air under your throws, bud. Just put a little bit of touch on the ball. The second drive, another bat down. Just looking at it as a whole, Braden Locke was 15 of 32. It's 46.9%. And there was only one drop credited to Badgers pass catchers. So if that catch is made, he finishes 16 of 32 and 50%. He did have 130 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown that he had to Vinny Anthony was easily his best throw of the entire day. Braden Locke had 2 big-time throws and 3 turnover-worthy plays that didn't end up turning into turnovers this game. So there's that. The very last thing that I want to hang my hat on as far as the passing game is concerned, and this is a really nice thing to end on for me as far as this season is concerned because it ties in nicely to next season, is Darian Dupree can pass block. I'm looking forward to him getting a lot more playing time. He was the Badgers' 4th highest graded pass blocking player against Minnesota. So One good thing I'm going to end the season on is Darion Dupree can pass block, and we saw him do some good running. So I'll go to Mike in the running game.
Yeah, for sure. I guess with the run game, just in general, for besides the pass blocking, kind of like what Jake said, I felt nothing. We couldn't really get much going at all, unfortunately. Uh, Tyree Walker had 14 carries for 36 yards, and that is with his long run of 18 yards. So you do the math on that: 13 carries, 18 yards, really. If you take that out of the equation. And then Darion Dupree, 7 carries, 15 yards, and had one run of 7 yards. So there you go again. So unfortunately, yeah, we could not get this going at all. Again, I felt nothing when I was watching this game. I wasn't mad or upset. I was just sad, just really sad, and again, did not really feel anything. As weird as that sounds, I wasn't really passionate about when I was watching this. It was kind of like what the equivalent probably to what half this team was, just not engaged or locked in. I think that was the story of the day for our team. You could hear it with Fickle's press conference after the game, how emotional he was, at least how upset he was when he was answering questions, and but also at the same time, it was just hard for him. It's like, yeah, what do I do now, right? But anyway, as far as the future goes, kind of like what Tyler said, I guess, ending on a good note. Um, I am excited to see Darion Dupree. He's obviously going to be a vocal point in this offense next year, and for hopefully the next 2, maybe even 3 years to come, depending how well he does. We have a young backfield too. Assuming that, unfortunately, Katie Akameli is not going to be back. I still don't think he will. He will be. I think he's as good as gone. And he's very, very talented, by the way. It's not like I want him out the door. You guys know I vouch for him. But the combination of Darion Dupree and Dylan Jones, I think, in a hopeful, somewhat pro-style offense coming in, is going to be very beneficial, I think, for this program. And I'm looking forward to what this running back room looks like for this next year.
Yeah. Jake, how did you feel about the offensive line? Before you go in, Jack Nelson also accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl. So Jack Nelson will also be there. So we'll have 2 Badgers that we can potentially talk to.
Oh, 2 Badgers that we're going to talk to, buddy.
For sure. I talked to both of the Badgers last year, so we got to do it.
Yeah, we got it, dude. We're not Wisco fanatics if we don't talk to the Badgers, man. That's just how this works, right? So I'm gonna kind of bounce off Mike here real quick. I had to watch the second half of this game on my phone because I was stuck in Black Friday car jams with my father because he wanted to buy 3 TVs because he's crazy. That's a story for a different day. He actually has a logical reason behind it, so I respect it. But so as I was watching this, I turned over to him and I was like, it just feels like they want the season to be over. It feels like they've mentally been through so much, and fans can be pissed and they can say what they want to say, but these are still people at the end of the day. And going through the mental grind of the off season and still being a student and all the high expectations, and you think about it. I believe it was Jack Nelson. Jack Nelson's been through how many different offensive line coaches? 2 or 3. Been through how many different offensive coordinators? A couple different head coaches. I mean, think of all the coaching changes that have happened at Wisconsin for the last couple of years. This was almost a ticking time bomb when you think about it. You think about the big-time colleges, they have stability. Think about the big-time NFL teams. They have stability. Look at Mike Tomlin, dude. That guy's been coaching for 18 years for the Steelers. He does not lose. He loses. He doesn't have a losing season.
Right.
He has stability. Everybody knows when you come in that building, you answer to Big Mike. Now, I hope people have that amount of patience with Luke Fickell, because again, there's a lot of things that we got to talk about. But I just read so many nasty comments, and I want people to understand that these are still young men, okay? And I thought the offensive line played fine in the pass game. They only gave up 1 hit and 1 hurry. The hit was from Joe Brunner, who also got honorable mention, or did he get 3rd team?
Third team.
Joe Huber. Yeah, Huber got the third team, I believe.
Yeah, my apologies. Joe Huber got 13. Joe Brunner gave up the hit, and the hurry was given up by Jake Renfro. But yeah, Huber was pretty good for a majority of the year, in my opinion. He's a good pulling guard. I think he'll be a guy that'll get drafted in like the 4th or 5th round, a late round draft pick, kind of like the Badgers do. But yeah, it'll be an interesting year in Wisconsin, man. But I got a lot of thoughts. I'd read a lot of nasty comments over the last couple of days.
I mean, let's just jump into it. So you already touched on the transfer portal, that people can only declare that they're going into it. Monday is when the portal actually opens, and things can start changing. So there will still be a spring window. It's only going to be 10 days from April 16th to April 25th. The winter portal is from the December 9th, which is next Monday, to December 28th. So right after Christmas. That's the Friday after Christmas, I believe. Actually, that'll be Saturday.
Yeah.
So looking at just the sheer numbers, this is wild to me. So this is last year's transfer portal numbers. This is FBS players. More than 2,800 FBS scholarship players entered their name into the NCAA's transfer portal during the 2023-2024 school year. Removing those who withdrew from the portal or went pro, the final total sat at 2,707 transfers. That means that roughly 25% of all FBS scholarship players hit free agency in 1 year.
See, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
25%, dude.
It's happening to everybody. So Badgers fans that are freaking out, dude, calm down.
That's where the landscape is. This is not a Wisconsin exclusive thing that's happening with the transfer portal. Not at all. Yes, I understand they're being concerned because a lot of the DBs are transferring.
Mm-hmm.
That I can understand being a concern. That's one position group. But, I mean, you're looking at the rest of the team, like it's like 2 D linemen, 1 wide receiver, maybe it's 1 quarterback for sure, maybe another one. But it's just a couple guys here and there from all the rest of the position groups.
But what people aren't taking into consideration is the people that we're bringing in for signing day, filling some of those positions. Because we signed 2 quarterbacks. I know Landon Locke, he had an injury, so he's kind of going to be MIA this year. He's probably going to be a medical redshirt. But his brother Braden's there, obviously. The quarterback room is going to be fine. And, Fickle talked about Tyler Van Dyke, and it kind of sounded like the decision was still kind of up in the air. It sounded like, and I don't want to, put words in anybody's mouth, but the way that I took it from what he said is he kind of doesn't want him back. I think he wants a guy that could step in and be the quarterback for 2 years.
Because I don't think he would make it back in time for fall camp, to my understanding. That's the biggest thing with Tyler Van Dyke. So, I mean, and it's going to be a tough conversation, but at the same time, I think you have to have somebody else ready to go. At least 2 guys fighting for that starting spot. Tyler Van Dyke's not going to be there for fall camp. That would put us behind. Yeah, right from the get-go. So
I wouldn't hate having Van Dyke still here and being the backup quarterback in case something happens. But you have to have insurance. And I know there's a guy, I forgot his name. There's a big-time quarterback recruit that was at Texas A&M. He was a number 2 quarterback a couple of years ago.
It's like Steigend, something like that.
Siegman.
Yeah, we are one of the top 5 schools for his consideration for him to transfer here. So I mean, if we can get a guy like that, have Van Dyke stay in the program for an extra year, do strength and conditioning, have the coaches get their hands on him, maybe get him ready, and he's the backup quarterback. Now you create the ultimate depth. And he already had an off season, in the offense. So, around the program, I know it's going to be a new offense, but if you have a guy like that who understands, the ways around Madison and bringing this other guy in, then you could create the ultimate depth there at quarterback, which is something that obviously you need stability at to not be a 5-win team.
Yeah. I think also what that does is if you have Tyler Van Dyke in that room and you are starting, say, a transfer, that it gives you the ability to do something that a lot of Badger fans wanted to do this year and take out a poor performing quarterback because you have a better option. And I'm going to tell you this. It's a bullshit cop-out to just say anything's a better option. That's not how it works.
I
That's
agree.
not how it works.
Agreed.
So that is not going to be an option. To just say, oh, throw a freshman out there, he can't be any worse. There's nothing to support anything evidential to say that it can't be worse. And just because you don't think it can doesn't mean that it can't. And it also doesn't mean that putting a freshman who has no game experience and has been here for 6 months is the right answer. And I'm not saying that it couldn't have been. But looking at it, if the coaches are saying he's not ready, putting him in a situation where he's going to be a deer in the headlights is not beneficial to his development or to the team.
Let me piggyback off you real quick. Something that people aren't thinking about. Those kids worked their entire life to get a D1 scholarship. The parents sacrificed going to football camps, taking them going to all their games, supporting them, following them for their dream. These kids are following their dream. And just because you're upset sitting on your couch on a fucking Saturday, you're like, just throw them in there. Not even thinking that this could ruin this kid's career. Take something into consideration. This is a sport. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay? These are people's lives. And these kids are working their asses off to get to this point. It's incredible to be a D1 athlete. It's hard. Now, I know you just heard the numbers are thousands and thousands of kids. You don't know how many other thousands of kids apply for that and don't get those opportunities.
Yeah.
Think about people like Josh Allen. You ever seen the interview that Josh Allen did? He literally was sending his game tapes to all D1 coaches. He got offered to Wyoming, and now he's the best quarterback in the NFL. It's between him and Burrow, in my opinion, but that's a discussion for a different day. But think about that. People like Josh Allen exist, and you don't want to just ruin these kids' careers because you're upset at Braden Locke.
But like my original point was, if you have somebody starting next year, and say week 4, Tyler Van Dyke is cleared, you have an option to go to a guy who has experience that you can feel comfortable inserting in that situation.
At the end of the day, I just want a competitive quarterback room in general, right? Just get that we need that competition. Vic has talked about it, not just that position group, but everywhere. We have to build that competition. And I realize in an era in the portal area, I can see why it could be difficult because you're looking for that instant gratification. You're looking for that instant opportunity with these guys. But that quarterback room needs competition every single week. We cannot, unless we find, the five-star guy, or if we decide to pony up and get the best transfer guy out of the portal, which I don't foresee happening. We have to find a way to make that quarterback room competitive as hell. And hopefully if Mabry sticks around, we didn't see any portal entries from him or any posts from him yet. And we also got to take into account, we do have that spring window too. So my thoughts are they're going to have spring practices as well. And then the portal will open up for that. And I'm sure we're going to see a couple other guys
trickle in.
Trickle in. So I'm hoping Mabry sticks around, no matter who the OC is. And again, just creating that competition, even with him, Braden Locke, Tyler Van Dyke, and I'm thinking we do bring in a portal quarterback for sure. Just creating that constant competition. That's only going to bring the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
So,
well, how do you guys feel about? Well, do you think that offensive coordinator is a more important position to fill, or do you think the players are the problem?
It's definitely both. One thing that Luke Fickell said today that I thought was kind of interesting is that he hasn't ruled out hiring 2 different people for offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, which I think would be an interesting thing to do. And it's honestly, I think I would prefer to do that, to have one guy specializing in the quarterbacks and then having another guy specializing in creating the offense.
You want to talk about pro style? That's what the pros do.
Absolutely. So I think I'm in favor of that being 2 different positions. And we still have to wait another 7 or 8 days before they can even officially announce anything, because it has to be posted for 2 weeks for the state of Wisconsin before they can announce anybody. So that's something interesting. The Badgers have 24 recruits today. Today was a national signing day, so the Badgers got 24 recruits coming in. They're a top 25 class. I want to
Yeah,
say
I think
they're
they're
like
number
22nd.
20
still.
to 25, depending what
Yeah,
website
depending
you
on what
go
outlet
off
you look
of,
at.
So
Don't look at just ESPN, please.
ESPN's the worst one.
I
If
was
I'm
looking
going to
at
be honest.
247, I think.
Yeah.
They were
247,
23rd.
Rivals,
247. Yeah.
On 3. Those are the 3 big ones.
Yeah, I like Rivals. Rivals is good.
Rivals is a really good one too. Not ESPN, please.
It's the worst.
It should be studied the fall off of ESPN over the last 5 years.
They got
Yeah.
greedy. That's what it was.
Seriously. Yeah.
Dude, Pat McAfee keeps them surviving right now. Let's be
Correct.
honest.
Well, and Pat McAfee's got his own money on the side, so it's not even like they're doing that.
That's true.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say? We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in the off season. We're going to be planning some article stuff, a lot of video stuff as far as the Badgers football team is concerned, kind of updating what we're going to see on the field next season. I said it to Mike and Jake this afternoon that I'm starting to get kind of a feel that we had with Badger basketball this year. And we're going to transition into Badger basketball in a minute here, but the amount of turnover and some ingenuity by Greg Gard, some updating of the programs, some upgrading of the game plans, the strategy. I feel that's kind of where Badger football is heading, and Luke Fickell's comments kind of give me some confidence that is something that is in the cards for Badger football, for it to be a forced change because of the amount of turnover. And hopefully the improvement that we can see, like we've seen with Badger basketball. So, anything else you guys want to say as we head into Badger football offseason?
All I'm gonna say is that Tyler hit it on the head. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of turnover. I hope I'm hoping there's some changes with the coaching staff too on both sides of the ball. Maybe tweaks here and there. I'm hoping maybe we picked up the phone and called Jim Leonard. That probably didn't happen, but no. Guys, Coach Fickell's not going anywhere. For any fans that want him gone, it's not going to happen. If you got $33 million to cough up for his buyout, I'd be interested if you did, just to hear that you actually do. But no, he's not going anywhere because I believe it's $33 million or right around that amount to get him out the door. Even if I think I heard this on the radio the other day, if you could fill up Camp Randall to 80,000 people and each person gave $10, that's and you multiply that by the amount of home games, I think it comes out to like 5.4 million or something like that. So just to give you an idea, it's not even close. The buyout's $33 million. Fick's not going anywhere. He's going to be given the time to get this figured out. So just
honestly,
throwing that out there.
I'm going to wait until even 2026 because one of the things
I said 4 years. Yeah, my personal opinion is 4 years.
We keep saying, let Fickell get his guys in. The Christ recruits are still kind of filtering out. And yes, Fickell's had some transfers that he brought in and stuff like that. But 2025 is going to be his first huge recruiting year. He had a lot of 2024 recruits, but 2025, in my opinion, is going to be the first really big recruiting class. So it's going to be a young team next year, in my opinion, unless they go bonkers in the transfer portal, which I guess is possible. But I think a lot of the recruits that they're signing are going to be factors, not obviously all of them with 24 of them, but these guys are going to be factors next season. So I think the Badgers are going to be a young team in 2025. So I want to let 2025 be a year of experience, honestly. Mm-hmm. And then in 2026, that's when I'll look to see a jump, in my opinion.
I think next year is going to be a lot of fun, just from the youth aspect of it. I think we're going to see a lot of splash plays, and we're going to see a lot of plays where, when he gets game experience, he's going to learn from that, and it's going to be exciting. And as Wisconsin sports fans, we've been through this plenty of times, people.
Yeah,
the Brewers
recently,
the Packers, and now the Badgers. I mean, the Badgers basketball team is doing it this year. They went through a big turnover. Badgers football team is going to do the same thing. We know what to do, okay? Yep. We're going to sit back. You guys are all going to sip your beers. I don't sip beers. Tyler doesn't really sip beers either.
You Mikey? Slam beers. No,
I don't slam no beer. You guys are going to sip your beers, eat your food, and you're just going to enjoy the game, okay? Just relax. Everything's
let the young guys play.
It's going to be fine.
All right. You guys ready to move into basketball?
Yes, where people are also having crazy things to say last night.
I'm glad that we get to talk about this the day after it happened. Let's start with Chicago State. Mike, we can start with you with the guards, and then we'll get to that Michigan game from last night. But let's start with Chicago State.
Yeah, this was kind of everyone was sort of like hungover, I think, from watching that football game the night before, the day before. This is pretty slow. I know we were 34.5-point favorites in this one. Just we did not play our best ball. I didn't think just kind of like slow from the get go. From the guard perspective, they're honestly. I didn't have too much to take away here. In all honesty, you don't really learn too much when you're playing a team that arguably should be in a division down, kind of. So, but anyway, Klesman, I guess I'll start with him. 26 minutes, 2 of 9 shooting, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Him and I believe it was Steven Crowell both had 5 assists. So that was pretty cool. They both got it distributed. Then Kamar McGee didn't do too much, 15 minutes, two rebounds, and Jack Janicki got a lot of playing time. That was good to see. He had 18 minutes, 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Again, I didn't really take too much away from this game personally. This is just one of those games where you just gotta don't completely shit the bed and just get this done and move on. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Looking at the wings, I'm going to tie John Blackwell into your point on Max Klesmit. John Blackwell didn't have a really efficient game either. He was 2 for 8 from the field. He only had 7 points. It was only the second game of the season that he wasn't in double figures. He still played tough defense, had a steal, had a block shot. But going forward, I need Max Klesmit and John Blackwell to be more efficient. Combined in this game against Chicago State, they were 1 for 9 from the 3-point line. That's rough. We need that efficiency up, and it's going to be a trend going into the Michigan game when we get there. But Chicago State started in a zone. Surprised you didn't mention Daniel Freitag got almost 5 minutes playing time in this game. John Tonje, he started 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. His driving is drawing so much attention that it's starting to open things up for his teammates. So in addition to his 22 points, he added 5 rebounds. He had 3 assists. Just looking at the team in general, really balanced scoring. The Badgers were able to score 74 points with only 2 players in double figures. So I love to see that team balance. So that was encouraging for the Chicago State game. So Jake, what's it up to you with the bigs?
Well, I got to say the bigs played pretty good in this one, and that is a trend that is not going to continue as we go to the Michigan game. Yeah. Winter looked really good. Didn't miss a shot, 4 for 4 from the field, 1 for 1 from the 3-point line. He had 12 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist. Steven Crowell, he was dropping dimes left and right. He's a good passer. He's like overly patient, I would say.
Yeah, he needs some aggressiveness.
Almost like afternoon nap patience.
I'm this close to snapping the same way I did last year. With him not facing the fucking basket when he catches the ball.
Yeah, it's something. But he had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in this one. The starting bigs combined for 23, 11, and 6. And Crowell had 3 blocks. So he played good defense in this one. Bench bigs between Amos and Gilmore, they combined for 10 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. 4 for 10 from the field and 2 for 5 from the 3-point line. I do like that Gilmore is trying to stretch the game. He does have good form, but only wide open ones. Okay, that's it. And only in rhythm. Don't be forcing them. Okay, my guy. I love you, Carter Gilmore, but don't be forcing the threes. It's not your game. Other than that, I thought the bigs controlled the paint. They did a good job in this game.
All right, let's go to the Michigan game. So this game happened last night. Now, all right, we're gonna do this together. Everybody, breathe in. Breathe out. It's going to be okay.
This was frustrating. We could have beat them by 15, dude.
Okay, we could. And people are going to use the word should. I prefer to use the word could because I don't like saying should when it comes to sports because we watch for the things that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I said could. I said we could have beat them by 15.
I know. And I said this. I'm not saying this to you specifically. I said this to somebody who was talking about the Packers game previously against the Lions. They're like, oh, we should have beat them. I don't use should, use could. So you saying could made me think of that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a tangent.
No,
So, Mike, start with the guards. Kind of tough, but start with the guards.
Yeah, I'll talk about the guards and I'll give you my big picture, kind of,
Yeah.
if that's cool with you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, not the greatest night. I'll start with Max Klesmit. Just not the prettiest game on his end. 36 minutes. He was 3 of 14 for total, 8 points, 1 for 9 from the 3-point line. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Just digging more into this with Max, and I believe ultimately he's going to be the X factor for this team ultimately down the road from an offensive perspective. And that's going to start Saturday when we play Marquette. He's 16 of 63 from the 3-point line so far this year, which is 25%. That is not ideal at all. In terms of, I know Tyler was making a big point on in our chat last night. The shot selection definitely got a little questionable later on in that second half. And even Coach and Greg Gard called it out after the game too, about him forcing one, maybe 2 shots. He made it clear he's just in a slump and he's got to get out of it, right? So, being a veteran player that he is, I do expect him to bounce back and have that comeback game.
Yeah.
I personally hope it is against Marquette on Saturday.
That would be great timing.
Hopefully history repeats itself,
Yeah.
because that he did it last year. Scored 21 points in the first half and never looked back. Hit 7 threes. So, I mean, Max Klesmit, he hits 2 more of those shots, we win the game, right? And that's even So
I mean, even if we just end a couple of those possessions with better shots, like
correct. Yeah.
When there's like a minute and a half left, and you're the one that bothered me more was the one where he's in the middle of the paint and he gets kind of bumped off of his pivot and he just kind of throws the ball at the basket, kind of hoping to be bailed out by a whistle. Right. That's a bad shot.
Yeah.
That's not on Greg Gard. That's bad shot selection. I don't even care if you have to burn a timeout in that situation. When you're down by a point and throwing up a bad shot at that point in the game, that to me is just bad shot selection. And then I don't remember if it was 1 possession later or 2 possessions later, he got a screen on the left wing and came off the screen and pulled up for 3. The Badgers were down by 1 point at that point. They were down by 1, and he pulled a 3 with about a minute left in the game. That, to me, was also bad shot selection when you are not shooting well. Yeah. Going forward or looking at it in the grand scheme, I trust Max Klesmit to take those shots. But in the game specifically, just have to have a little bit more awareness to be like, I'm not hitting today. Like, I'm going to drive this ball to the basket, try to get somebody to step up and create a shot for one of my teammates. That's got to be the mentality, in my opinion.
Yeah. I wrote court awareness I literally have it written down in front of me. So
absolutely. So that was what grinded my gears. I don't fault him for taking the last 3 that he took. He got a wide open look. That was a drawn up play that I'll just mention it with John Tanji. I would have liked to see that play drawn up for him. So that one I put a little bit more on Greg Gard. I don't fault Max Klesmit for taking a wide open 3. Right. But the 2 before that were the ones that really grinded my gears. Connor, welcome back. So I'll go back to you, Mike. Anything else you wanted to say on the guards?
Oh, absolutely. So Kamari McGee actually showed up second half specifically. He was spark plug in the second half and towards the end of the game. Actually, the last 5 minutes. So 25 minutes, play 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. He hit the go-ahead 3 with 3 minutes to go too. Specifically, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He's quietly putting together a really good year. So far, even as we head into Big Ten play. So he's obviously a big part of this team, and you're going to see his face quite a bit. And then Jack Janicki, not too much there, 5 minutes, 1 assist. But I'll just go into my big picture. So we were the couple stats that I wanted to call out. We won the offensive rebound battle, which was a good takeaway.
Yep. Thank you.
Believe it or not, even going against Michigan, I know Jake's going to talk about this too, but I just I'm bringing it up because this was an issue for us last year. Just defending the pick and roll, that has been a problem with this team, and I think it is going. Unfortunately, that was the case yesterday. Michigan did a really good job with doing that with their bigs.
Yeah, they have good bigs.
44 out of the 67 points were through Golden and Wolf. So Wolf's a player, man. I was actually pretty impressed with him. Golden I knew about obviously from his Florida
Wolf
Atlantic
can
days.
handle the ball and he can pass.
Yeah.
That dude's legit.
And I think ultimately we just got to get more physical too at the end of the day, and it doesn't help when Big Steve gets in foul trouble. But
yeah, Jake's definitely gonna talk about that.
And the one more stat I wanted to call out too. The Badgers now after this game, they're shooting 34% from 3 overall. So when you're looking at it, we were 6 of 27, right? So 22.2%. When it, significantly way below that number. And we talked about this. We're probably going to end up shooting close to 33 threes a game. And it's going to be the reason we win games. It's going to be the reason why we lose games. That was another big part of, I think, why we lost this game specifically. But it's not a bad loss. We played a team with a lot of experienced guys, especially their big men. We're gonna have and at the end of the day, we're gonna have these games with bad shooting, and we do have to live with that. Hopefully, it doesn't trickle for too much of the season, because starting on Saturday, we're definitely going to need to improve that percentage if we want to have a shot to win.
Yeah.
And I do think too, just going in terms of the Big Ten Conference, there's just a lot. There is going to be a lot of parity. I don't see anybody that really sticks out to me. So I expect this conference to be deadlocked. I don't see anybody running away with it.
Big Ten tournament should be fun.
Yeah, I could be dead ass wrong when I say that, but just watching Iowa Northwestern last night. I got to see Ohio State play against UWGB, and they lost to Pitt and the Pittsburgh game when Pitt hit a buzzer beater.
Yep.
Illinois is going to be a tough test for us next Tuesday.
Yep.
Purdue, obviously a tough test, but I mean, not really anybody in the Big Ten really sticks out to me like how obvious it was last year with Purdue and Illinois.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works with the parity.
So going back into John Tanji, not his most efficient game either. He was 5 for 12 from the floor. He was 3 for 5 from the 3-point line, which is 60%. That's very good. So 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, had 3 turnovers. Put a pin in that for a second. John Tanji did hit a big 3 on some second chance points to tie the game at 52. There were a lot of what I'll say are pretty clutch, shots and makes in this game, even though the Badgers lost. Just because they lost doesn't take away the fact that big shots were made at the time of the game when they were happening. I really want people to kind of understand that clutch plays don't only happen when you win. It's more exciting when they happen when you win. But Kamari McGee, I'm glad you brought it up. He hit a pretty clutch shot to give the Badgers the lead. John Tanji hit a pretty clutch shot to tie the game. John Blackwell had a 6-0 stretch of 4 second chance points on offensive rebounds and a step back jump shot to score 6 straight points for the Badgers. That's clutch.
That was a sick run. That was a sick run on his end.
Just because they lost doesn't change that was a big run. I really want people to understand that.
Yeah.
That clutch plays happen even when you lose. They still call it clutch time. Those stats all still count. In the NBA, it's the last 5 minutes within 5 points. The losing team, their stats count towards the clutch stats too. Because you want guys that will perform well in those situations. Yeah. Because in the long haul, performing well in those situations is going to increase your chance of winning more games over the course of the season. So having guys that make those plays in any game is going to increase your chances of winning more games, period. So I really like what I saw from John Blackwell, especially those offensive rebounds on back-to-back possessions and getting some layups out of it. He had another one where he drew a foul on an offensive rebound. So really pleased with what John Blackwell did to bounce back from his rough shooting game against Chicago State, to shoot 6 of 12 from the field, made 4 out of 5 free throws. Did a really good job on the glass. He had 9 rebounds. 4 of them were offensive. So, Mike, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm going to harp on it because it is a very encouraging thing to see the Badgers come away with 16 offensive rebounds against 2 7-footers who are a problem on the other end. I'm going to save that part for Jake. Other than that, got to clean up the turnovers. John Blackwell made a couple of pretty sloppy passes late in this game, trying to get some dump offs to Nolan Winter. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the season. I think it was Max Klesmet was the player that I brought it up specifically with, but you can't leave your feet to pass expecting that somebody's going to be open while you're in the air. So that's something I'd like to see the Badgers kind of cutting out of their game from the guards and the wings, is leaving their feet to pass. That's something I'd like to see cleaned up. The Badgers only had 10 turnovers, but 8 of them came from Blackwell and Tanji. 5 from Blackwell, 3 from Tanji. So clean up the turnovers. I'll give a couple broad stats that really show how close this game really was. Mike already mentioned the three-point shooting, but the Badgers shot 22%. Michigan shot 24%. Michigan shot 39% from the field. Wisconsin shot 34.4% from the field. The Badgers lost this game by 3. This game was this close. It's not this catastrophic shitting the bed loss that people are acting like it is. That's why we needed the deep breath before we started talking about this game. Also, the Badgers missed 5 free throws. They were 14 for 19. That's 74%. It's tough to ask for more, from what they've done at the free throw line on the season. But again, you look at it, if the Badgers can just make a couple more free throws, this game is a little bit different. Rebounding, Michigan had 43 rebounds. Wisconsin had 42. Turnovers, Wisconsin had 10. Michigan had 12. Steals, both teams had 7. But the 2 big ones that stood out to me were the assists. Michigan had 16 assists. Wisconsin had 8, despite only a 23 to 22 difference in field goals. And then blocks. Michigan blocked 11 shots, and Wisconsin blocked 2. Yeah. And I'm going to let this tie into Jake and Stephen Crowell's foul trouble because they happened in not great ways, I'll say. So, Jake, take it away with the bigs.
Yeah, so Mike touched on the big pick and roll. I will say that is a luxury for Michigan to be able to do that. The Bucks can obviously run that, so it's a luxury for us as well as Bucks fans. But Michigan is not going to be an easy team to beat. They will be ranked this season for a majority of the year. They're going to beat a lot of people. They need a little bit better guard play, but those bigs are for real. They're big and they play big. And that's something where I can transition and talk about Stephen Crowell. He's big, and sometimes he doesn't play big. And there's a saying in basketball, playing bigger than you are. And Tyler's favorite player of all time, Marquette grad, Dwayne Wade, you didn't feel like he was 6'4" when he was on the court. You felt like that guy was 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
And how he was flying and blocking shots and jumping passing lanes and
dunking on people.
He was incredible, man. You didn't feel like he was a 6'4" player. Sometimes when I watch Stephen Crowell, I'm not even sure if he's 7 feet tall.
He plays like he's 6'8" too.
Yeah.
And that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with what you said. He's got to be smarter with his fouls, man. That last foul he got was just so – that was a foul that you see – if that would have been Winter getting that foul, I'd have been like, young guy making a mental mistake.
Yeah, it's a Y. It's a Y foul.
Yeah.
It's a Y foul.
Yeah,
it definitely was. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna move off that because I'm gonna get pissed off again. Transition. I talked about this maybe being a problem for the Badgers a couple of weeks ago. Michigan whooped our butt in that area, 19-4. They had 19 transition points. That was something that I talked about a couple of weeks ago where I was like, oh man. We looked pretty slow getting back on defense, and it came back to bite us in the ass a little bit. A game that you lost by 3 points, you lost that by 15.
Yeah.
And the Badgers are playing a much faster pace. But Michigan, shout out to them. They got a new head coach. He's a very good coach. He brought some recruits with him, and they look like a legit team. And the last thing I'm going to say, Tyler and I, we've talked – we like to use certain words when we talk about things, and it's a shift in mindset. And yes, the winning was fun. That was great. That was a lot of fun. I had a great time just watching them. Every time they play, I'm like, hey, they're going to win. That was awesome. I love that. I wish I could do that all the time, but that's not how sports work. So now And by the way, Marquette has a really big time game coming up. I'm going to watch that one tonight too.
Tonight, yeah.
Number 5 versus number 6, I believe it is, right?
Iowa State. Yeah.
Iowa State's number 6. That one's in Ames, Iowa, right? Or Iowa City? Iowa City?
It's in Iowa City, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Ames is where Iowa is. Yeah, obviously. But we have an opportunity here. The Badgers have an opportunity to see how they bounce back from a letdown game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be really, really excited to see how they bounce back. It's going to be a rivalry game. It's going to be big time. Marquette's going to be the home team, so they're going to be at the Forum. Absolutely love the Badgers being at the Forum. That just makes my heart happy. So we'll see what they got. But you talked about Klesmit. Stephen Crowell's got to step up, dude. He has played way too many goddamn games to be playing like he just played. That's just what I'm going to say on that, and I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, you got to cut out the Y fouls. And I saw a lot of people dogging the Badgers bigs, being like, "Oh, we're going to get worked by every team with bigs." Like, not every team has 2 7-footers like Michigan does. And I'll just say that their bigs match up well against ours. So it is what it is with that part of it. Credit to them for using them well. I respect Dusty May as a head coach 10 million times more than I respect Juwan Howard.
Oh, that's not even a comparison. Not even a comparison.
I didn't know he came from the Bobby Knight tree. That was a pretty cool thing to learn.
Yeah. And he came from the Cinderella run FAU Owls.
Yep.
So he's got some experience as far as the tournament is concerned as well. So I respect this Michigan team far more than I respect any team that Hunter Dickinson was ever on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That
Juwan Howard plus Hunter Dickinson.
What are you doing here?
That breed of Michigan Wolverines is gone. Thankfully. It makes for better basketball in the Big Ten in general. Unfortunately, at the Badgers' expense this week. But can we normalize, like, giving credit to our opponents is just really where I'm going with this. It's not every loss is some catastrophic failure, big deal. Oh, my God, I can't believe the Badgers lost this game. Well, here we go. I guess 10th in the Big Ten wasn't so bad of a pick anyways. Like, it's not that serious. Like, just calm down, come back to earth, take a deep breath, like, relax. It's one game. Michigan came in at 6-1. It's not like they were a 3-6 team coming in. So it's going to be okay. The Badgers are going to go down in the rankings if they lose to Marquette on Saturday. If they win, maybe they'll stay where they're at, or even move up potentially. But we've got to start with business on Saturday, and we will talk about that game and the Illinois game from next Tuesday on next Wednesday's show. So that's what's next. Other than that, anything else you guys wanted to say on Badger basketball?
Going to learn a lot. I'm looking forward. This is going to be 2 competitive-ass games, both on the road. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're going to learn what we're all about, to be quite honest. And that game at Marquette is going to be intense as hell. No matter how they do tonight, It's always a hell of an atmosphere. Coach Gardo's 3-0 over Shaka Smart, so you know that the Marquette guys are going to be fired up to try and get one finally on them. So no, and I go back to, at the end of the day, I think Max Klesmit's the ultimate X factor. I think at point blank, if he's hitting shots, that's just going to open it up for John Tonje and JB and John Blackwell to take over ultimately at the end of the game. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an intense matchup.
Dude, Tonje versus Cam Jones is going to be fucking.
I'm really excited.
It's going to be so good. Is Cam Jones a senior, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God.
He needs to get one versus Wisconsin, bro.
No.
I'm not saying I want that, but
I have a much different conflicting feeling with this because I did grow up as a fan of both.
Yeah.
Marquette and Wisconsin. The way that I usually come down on it is whoever needs the win more. So if Marquette wins tonight, I'll be kind of cheering for the Badgers a little bit more to get the win on Saturday because they're going to need the win more.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be upset whichever team wins. But obviously we cover Wisconsin on this show. I'd like to be able to cover Marquette. It's just unfortunately one of the things we don't quite have time to be able to do. But that's where we're at. So we will be back with those 2 games next week. And other than that, anything else you guys want to say on Badger basketball before we bid adieu to Mike?
Should be good.
All righty. Stay tuned. Even though Badgers basketball is still going, Badgers football is ending. Mike's voice is still going to be very heard as far as our content is concerned. He's still going to be doing Badger basketball with us. But Mike's also going to be doing some other stuff, helping us out with some of the off-season Badger football content as he's very tuned into that, and that's why he's our Badger guy. So, Mike, we will see you back next week.
All right. Later, fellas. Peace out. Go Pack, go tomorrow as well.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we got the Bucks tonight, too.
Oh, yeah.
All righty. Have a go, Mike. Okay. So, you and I, we only have 2 Bucks games this week. It was kind of weird.
I know.
You know, we can play fucking 6 back-to-backs early in the season, but we're going to go from a Tuesday to Saturday with no games.
Yeah, dude. I was like, only 2
Nope.
Bucks games?
Oh, we're back. We have Saturday and Tuesday. Oh, and have a Wednesday game, so enjoy another back-to-back. So, the Bucks played Saturday and Tuesday, and then they play again tonight right away. But
Yeah.
let's go to Saturday's game against the Wizards. Kind of a weird game, but let's start with that.
Yeah. So, like you said, a long layoff period between Bucks basketball, which kind of sucked. When the season starts, I'm just like, all right, make it every day, every other day, every 2 days. Like,
Yep.
I don't understand the schedule. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Fire Rivers crowd very quiet. Also, the trade Giannis, trade Dame, blow the team up crowd is very quiet. as well.
Yeah. Fast.
I've been asking for him. I made a post last night. Where's the trade Giannis people at? Oh yeah, they're back in their hole. Okay, good. You stay there, and I'm going to lock the door when you go in. In terms of Giannis, since we're talking about him, 42, 12, and 11. Holy shit. His first ever 40-point triple-double, his 48th career triple-double, 12th all-time in NBA history, and his 3rd this season already. So he is a man on a mission right now. Damian Lillard, 25, 5 and 10, 8 of 18 from the field, 5 of 9 from the three-point line. With him having 20 and 10 and Giannis having 40 and 10, they have the most games as a duo of 20 points and 10 assists by a duo, like I said, with 3. Most all-time in NBA history. And they didn't even play good
together for a season and a quarter, bro. And the season that Dame played was an off year because of a bunch of shit.
And they already set the record. And like Elgin Baylor and Jerry West are on there.
Like, I mean, Oscar and Kareem are probably on there.
I don't remember the list. I think I still have it. I can find it when you do your.
I'm willing to bet that Kareem is part of it because this 40-point triple-double, Giannis was only the 2nd player in franchise history to have one, and Kareem was the only other one. Yeah, Connor, you probably were told the Bucks suck through the first 10 games. They weren't winning games, but if you follow us, you would know that there were flashes of good things happening, and we were pretty headstrong, strong-held in the fact that we believed the Bucks were going to turn it around and go on a run, and now they've won 9 out of 10, including, 7 in a row?
Yeah.
8 in a row? I think
7 in a row now.
9 of 10. It's 7 in a row. 7 in a row. So that's where we're at with the Bucks. Now, with Giannis in this game, he made 12 out of his 17 free throws. That's 70.6%. I will take that. I will take 70% from Giannis happily. I'll take 7 out of 10 every time, and I'll just ignore it. Connor, you follow us, so I'm confident that you had the same thoughts. I appreciate that. With this game specifically, the ball movement did slow down a little bit just because the Bucks were targeting specific matchups. And when they do that, it gets a little ISO heavy and it slows the ball movement down just a little bit, which I'm not opposed to. Obviously, you want to exploit the weaknesses, being a 19-year-old rookie guarding the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, he stood no chance, bro.
Like, welcome to the NBA, Alex Sarr. Got to take your licks. It's just where you're at in your career. Giannis is the guy dishing them out, and it's at your expense. So that, I think, is kind of why this game ended up being a little bit close at the end, from this game being a 105-103 Bucks lead. The Bucks locked in, outscored the Wizards 19-11 to win by 10. It is what it is. I'm not worried about it. We've talked about this before. The no lead is safe in the NBA. We've talked about it a bunch of times. Looking at the Bucks from the 3-point line, 9 of 19 in the first half, 7 of 16 in the second half. Pretty balanced, 45.7% overall. AJ Green had a bounce back game, 3 for 6. Brooke Lopez, 4 for 10. I really just want to illustrate this a little more strongly because 4 for 10 is 40%. 4 for 10 probably doesn't look great because you're like, oh, he missed 6. 4 for 10 on 40%, I will take that. The NBA average is 36%. If Brooke Lopez is over 35%, I am happy.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to say 4 for 10 doesn't look great in the box score, but it is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Dame was 5 for 9. I was a little surprised to see Gary Trent Jr. only shoot 1 3, but that's just kind of how she goes sometimes. Gary Trent Jr. is a guy who's going to thrive off of that ball movement. Taurean Prince is a guy who's going to thrive off of that ball movement. So in those ISO-heavy games, some of these guys might not get as many threes. Turnovers. Bucks only had 11, and one of them was a shot clock violation at the end of the game, so I'm going to say there's 10 turnovers. 15 points off turnovers for the Wizards off of those 10. So it's not terrible. I can't really complain about it. Looking at the defensive matchups, probably not a great day for the Damian Lillard plays no defense crowd also. The Washington Wizards were 4 of 14 from the field against Damian Lillard. And 1 for 8 against AJ Green.
AJ Green is a good individual defender. He's got to work on team defense, though.
I would agree with that. Yeah. So very pleased with those two on the defensive side of the ball. As far as points in the paints are concerned, that is where I was a little bit like, need to clean that up. Allowed 64 points in the paint. Now, Valanciunas is going to get his. As much as I don't like him, he's going to get his. He had 12, I believe. The thing that bothers me here is Jordan Poole had 14 points in the paint. Malcolm Brogdon had 16 points in the paint. And Corey Kispert had 12 or 10 points in the paint. So in my mind, this means the guards have to do a better job of staying in front. Jordan Poole scored 15 of his points on Ajax, and Malcolm Brogdon scored 15 of his points on Taurean Prince.
Ooh.
So I really just wanted to illustrate these things that it's not – it's a team effort here. It's really a team game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it to be like, oh, you know, this is a game where Ajax and Prince had bad games and Dame and AJ Green were good. We just really have to acknowledge that there's no absolutes that Dame is a bad defender all the time and Ajax is a good defender all the time and AJ Green is a bad defender all the time and Taurean Prince is a good defender all the time. There are going to be games where these guys do well at the things that people think that they don't do well.
Yeah.
And there are going to be games where guys that are strong defenders, strong effort players like Ajax and Taurean Prince are going to have off games. I just want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And in the future, I won't have to acknowledge the guys that didn't have their best stuff, and we can just give credit to the guys who are doing well, going beyond what their perceived limitations are. Because that's what I would want people to do for me. I wouldn't want people to be like, oh, you sucked at that thing that you're normally good at today. I would want people to be like, oh, you were better at something that you've previously struggled with.
Yeah.
That's how I would want people to critique me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to say about the Wizards game?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything.
Sweet. Okay. Let's go to the Pistons game from last night.
Yeah. I'm just going to I'm going to say something that Doc said, and then I'm going to go into my breakdowns. He said that they put a tournament in front of us and we want to win it. Yeah. And you could tell the Bucks were locked in last night. Giannis was 10 for 10. He started 10 for 10 from the field, missed his last one. So I'll take 10 of 11. I'm not too upset about it. 28, 7, and 8. Dame 27, 4, and 5. 5 of 11 from downtown. Taurean Prince didn't miss from downtown. Bobby Portis was fantastic. The bench overall had 46 points, 17 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Hell yeah.
17 of 35 from the field, 11 of 18 from 3.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah again. On the drive, the Bucks scored 18 points, 10 from Giannis. In the paint, they only scored 4, so this is wild. On catch and shoot, they scored 56 points. 8 players contributed on catch and shoots last night.
That's awesome. That tells me the ball is moving all over the place.
The ball movement and the defense last night.
All right, we're on the subject. I have 2 plays.
One sec.
Of the ball movement.
One sec. I'll just do the pull up, and then I got this one number, and then you can do the plays. Pull up. They scored 39 points on pull ups.
Damn, that's got to be like
catch and shoot and pull ups. That's 95 points.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's got to be so much of that. It has to just be Giannis just pulling up.
Actually, I could pull it up for you, but get the plays going.
All right, you brought up the ball movement, so I had 2 plays clipped from the ball movement. I wrote them down in my notes as the game was going. I wrote down the timestamps from when to take them. The ball movement on these 2 plays, and this one gets a little bit of extra for the offensive rebound, but Gary Trent gets a decent shot. Brook Lopez gets an offensive rebound, and they reset. This is a good ball movement here. Bobby Portis with a good cut. That quick pass to the corner, that's progress from Bobby Portis. I love to see it because I had previously questioned Bobby Portis' shot selection a little bit with him kind of forcing some shots. And the basketball gods found him because he made this pass.
And he cut.
I believe this, that the basketball gods helped Bobby Portis have a good game because he made this pass. Not, it's the thing. Like I said, make the passes, make the extra pass. The ball is going to find you, Bobby. Bobby Portis finished 4 of 7 on threes in this game, and he passed up what I would think is a shot he would probably have forced a week ago. Well, he would probably have tried to take a floater here and maybe even get an offensive foul on that. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but if he puts this floater up, you're going to be looking like AJ Green was wide open in the corner. Why not make that pass? And he makes that pass to AJ Green in the corner, and AJ Green knocks down a 3.
A simple cut to the basket took 2 people out of the play.
Beautiful. And then this one again, just more good ball movement. I love that everybody's willing to drive and kick on this. Giannis drives and kicks. Ajax, drive and kick. Taurean Prince, drive and kick. And Damian Lillard finds the open space and swishes a corner 3.
Oh, that was just Damian Lillard being Damian Lillard. Oh my goodness.
But I love the ball movement here. You had 3 guys drive and kick before getting Damian Lillard that 3.
Yeah, and they ball reverse to the other side of the court, so that was nice too.
I love it. You're taking advantage of all of the space on the floor. I love that ball movement.
Yep.
So continue.
Yeah. So pull-ups. This is insane. 12 came from Gary Trent, 10 from Dame, 10 from Giannis, 5 from AJ Green, and 2 from Brook Lopez.
Interesting.
We had 3 players with 10. That's insanity. But the efficiency was just insane. Catch and shoots, like we were talking about. The ball movement was fantastic. The ball was hopping, wasn't sticking to anybody. When Giannis and Dame can have an efficient 25+, and then the others are hitting their threes, I mean, this was just an insane game. Most points and a half, 78. And I'm not going to give the most 3.5 because I'm sure you have that stat, so I'm going to leave that be. But yeah, just all around, just an ass whooping. The Bucks hit 100 points in the third quarter and took the foot off the gas.
Yeah, and that the fourth quarter, Giannis didn't play. I mean, a lot of guys had a lot of run in the fourth quarter. AJ Johnson made a couple shots in the fourth quarter. He had 5 points late. I felt like Damian Lillard had kind of a quiet 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. The 3-point shooting, we talked about this last week. I don't remember exactly which game it was. The Bucks had a really strong first half and kind of a weak second half. That's the law of averages. And we said there is going to be some games where the Bucks shoot strong in the first half and they still shoot strong in the second half and they blow teams out. This was one of those games.
Yeah.
They shot 15 of 21 in the first half. 71%. That's stupid.
That is so dumb, bro.
71%. That's a free throw percentage.
Dude,
they shot that from the 3-point line.
Dude, we were going through the game. Like, I'm watching the game. They're just hitting threes. I'm like, bro, the Bucks are fucking cooking, dude. What the hell?
If that happens on Friday, ooh, that's going to be
– They deserve it. They deserve it.
Yeah. They finished 23 of 41. That's still 56.1%. Damn.
Yeah, that's
You
crazy,
mentioned
man.
Taurean Prince didn't miss. He was 4 for 4. Damian Lillard was 5 for 11. Gary Trent Jr. was 3 for 5. Bobby Portis was 4 for 7. AJ Green was 3 for 3. Ajax, 2 for 4. If he hits 2 for 4, 2 for 5, he's going to help the Bucks space the floor offensively.
Yeah.
That's all we need from him.
Yep.
Looking at it, I mean, it's just bombs away for the Bucks on the three-point line. And Giannis took over the third quarter. He scored 17 of his 28 in the third quarter. The Bucks in the first half, 78 points. You shitting me? 78 points in the first half? That's wild.
That's insanity.
110 points before the third quarter was over. I made the post yesterday evening that's more than they've had in 8 games this season.
Holy shit, what?
110 points is more than they've scored in 8 of their games this season.
Oh, man. That's crazy, actually.
Did it in 3 quarters.
Oh.
Sorry, Detroit. You were kind of a little bit of a punching bag here.
Yeah.
The Bucks put this game away, and they kept it away after they kind of ran their lead up to 20 points. The Pistons never got within 18. Was the closest that they got. You already mentioned Giannis's only miss was his last one. I have to talk about this. I clipped this play as well because he's not getting enough credit for how good of a basketball player he is. People are still only acting like he running dunks. People aren't as impressed as they should be the amount of shots that he's making that aren't in the restricted circle. His mid-range is starting to get a little bit of traction, but it's not getting him the MVP chatter that it should be.
I agree.
This play is an example of not a dunk, but a drive to the basket and such a crafty move to get an and one on this play. And he even chaps Jalen Duren on the back after it. This left hand. Kyrie Irving does shit like this. Kyrie Irving does stuff like this. One of the craftiest ball handlers of all time does stuff like this. That left hand shields his shot from getting blocked. That I cannot overstate how crafty of a move this is for Giannis to have that left hand guard there to protect the ball. That's crafty as shit. That dude's 7 feet tall. That's such a good basketball move.
Yeah, it is.
We are in year, 10, 11 of Giannis, and he's still impressing me with things. Do not let this fly by easily, people. This is stuff that guards do to protect their shots from getting blocked. He's doing it at 6'11". Please do not miss the importance of something like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. When I saw that, I was like, dude, his game has evolved. He hasn't even hit the point where he can be stopped, and he's still doing more.
Dude, he's fucking really good, dude.
So I had to clip this to bring it up for him to shield his shot and draw an and one on that. It's such a good move. Such a good basketball move from a guy who just still gets called run and dunk.
I would still take Jalen Duren on the Bucks, by the way.
He's so much more. So, 16 turnovers by the Bucks. 7 of them didn't come in that fourth quarter and kind of just treading water until the clock runs out. The Bucks allowed 19 points off turnovers. 6 of those came in that fourth quarter. So if you look at kind of when the game was close, 9 turnovers and 13 points off turnovers is kind of where I look at it for the first 3 quarters. But overall, the Bucks won their group in the NBA Cup. Brook Lopez had 6 rebounds, so I hope you're happy. People that complain about Brook Lopez not having rebounds, apparently we're just going to have to make a compilation of him doing things that affect rebounding without him grabbing the physical rebound. Because people still don't understand it. And then when you explain it to them, they're like, oh, what about those of us who watch the game multiple times? If you watch the games multiple times, it should be apparent to you what he's doing.
Yeah, you're not supposed to watch the same thing when you watch it the second time.
And then be like, oh, I looked at your podcast. You guys just seem like you were, yeah, sure you guys know what you're talking about with your internet show. Dog, if I have to explain it to you, if you're watching the game multiple times, you just need to understand basketball better.
Well, that or you're lying. You don't watch it multiple times.
Or you're just not understanding what you're seeing.
Yeah, some people are
like
dumb.
I said, might end up just having to have a compilation of it, of the taps, the box outs, so that guys can grab rebounds. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to comprehend, and it shouldn't make you be a dick on top of it just because you don't like the fact that Brook Lopez didn't have any rebounds against the Wizards.
That's literally not what his role is.
I shouldn't have to explain this to people. Just like it's the same. It's not the same thing, but it's a similar thing with the Packers when they have games where there's more to the pass rush than just sacks. There's more to the game than just the stats that show up on the box score. Okay.
True.
So, looking at it, the Bucks play again tonight. They play the Hawks tonight. They play the Celtics on Friday in Boston. They play Sunday against the Nets, and then after that, the NBA Cup tournament starts. So all the teams are still, or the scheduled games are still to be determined. The last time I checked, so the Bucks could be starting their tournament play on Tuesday or Wednesday.
They play on Tuesday.
Do they play on Tuesday for sure?
They play on Tuesday. They play on the 10th. Yes.
Okay. Well, then we will have the first game of the tournament to recap next week as well. So only 2 games this week, but we'll have 4 games next week.
Yeah, I know. What the hell?
Well, they went from Tuesday through Saturday with no games. Because
I know. It was just weird.
Every day this week.
It was just weird.
All right. So we will be back then next Wednesday. Be sure to tune in for that. Connor, thanks for coming on here. Connor said, "How dare someone be knowledgeable before raging?" Oh man, Connor, I'm glad you caught the Giannis rant. And like I said, like there's more to the games in every sport that we watch, every sport that we talk about. There's more to the games than just what shows up in the box score.
Yep.
And as we continue to grow, we have some things in the pipeline that are hopefully going to further benefit us to be able to do more, to be able to explain some of these things that don't show up in the stat sheet, that only show up when you're watching the games. Especially the little things, the underrated things that people don't notice, even if they do watch the game more than once, maybe. We want to be able to point that stuff out and help people understand the games better, help the perspectives of things, help people stop just watching the stat sheet. There's a lot to these things. There's a lot to understand in the games, and we don't know it all. We don't. I can tell you that. We don't know everything. But I can tell you that we are going to continue trying to learn more about the sports that we're watching and talking about. So, yeah, Connor said apparently 3 pressures is doing nothing as a pass rusher. Yeah, no sacks. So, gotta do that. But we're gonna talk about some of that stuff as well on Tuesday night when we recap the Packer game. But thanks for tuning in, Connor. Appreciate it. Back in the comments section. We will see you guys next Tuesday and Wednesday, and go Bucks tonight.
Hell yeah.